Today I'll be showing you how I built my magical cottage and garden for Jirachi. I really like how magical it looks in the day and at night. So let's get into the video. First things first, these are the items that I use for this build. We have the exterior cottage items such as blocks and some decoration items that I use for the exterior. And secondly, we have the interior of the cottage, which has furniture and also some decoration items. And lastly, we have the garden items, mostly consisting of trees and also the variety for the fog of the water. And here I am placing like indication of where I want to start putting the stairs for the entrance of the house. So for the flooring of the house, I went with a 12 by 10 blocks, 12 being the length and 10 being the depth. Yeah, I'm just placing all the floorings just for the entrance. And for the wall, I placed like a 3 blocks height first, just to cover the door. And I covered the sides of the door as well, and added the front of the wall for the cottage. However, that should be a 2 by 2 block spacing for the window, and also a 1 block spacing in front for like a porch area, and also to put some decorations later on. And after the front is done, now it's time to fill up the rest of the wall around the cottage. So I'm just like filling up the space. It should be a 10 block depth. And now it's time to put the flooring as well. Back to the front of the entrance, I put like 1 block of flooring right in front of the door, just so that that's like an entrance way. And then the stairs in front as well. So now we can add like 2 bushes or planters here. Right now it's a pole, but later I did switch it to bushes. And here I'm trying the roof and adding like stars on the roof. I did play around with the roof quite a bit, so you can see later on that I kept on placing the roof and removing the roof. Also for the roof, right now I'm using just the normal brick color, and later on you can see like it's pink color, but I did eventually use the cyan color brick roof, so just take note of that in mind. So after some trial and error, this is how it turned out of the roof for the first day I did this. And this is how it looked like the second day I did play around with the roof off stream, which is why there's no like video of how I did this. But basically the only difference is that I did add like a tower on the right side, and also some of the roof, which is just 1 tilted tower and 2 corner, and then the same for all of the sides. Here I started to add the decorations, and also I moved the pole to the sides of the roof for support, and then I add the bushes instead of the pole where the entrance is. And I started adding the rest of the roof. So here I wanted to add another level to the tower to make it higher. And then after that I re-add the roof in, and on top of it I added the block just so that I can add these stars on it. Here, I remove this wall and bring the wall closer because it was too far away and it was hard to see like the roof. And here I'm adding windows first and replacing the roof tile to blue. After completing the front of the roof, I also added some planters and also replaced one of it with mystery block. So in between each 3 planters there will be 1 mystery block, and in the middle is just 2 planters. And here I was trying out the glowing mushroom. I accidentally dropped it on the roof and realized it looked good, so I decided to drop it on every part of the roof. And on each side of the cottage, I did extend the area a little bit. So right now I add just 1 block, but later I did add like a whole area as well. I think that's about 3 blocks outwards from each side. And then for the top of the roof, just so that both sides can meet, I had to add a flat roof tile. And now I'm doing the same for the right side of the house. So I'm just making the same area as what I did for the left side. And for the back side of the roof, I added skylight windows so that we can see like out of the window, as it's the second level is going to be Jirachi's room. So it'd be nice to be able to see the stars at night. Now for the interior of the house, I added these stairs already, so right now I'm adding the wooden post just so that there's a partition between the stairs and the wall. And right now I'm also replacing the flooring with the Starry Sky wall just for the second level for Jirachi's bedroom. And also I've added the Jirachi's item set as well. So I added the bed as well as the wardrobe and also the side table, lamp, and vanity, and the clock as well. I also added the Star Wars decoration inside the room as well as the exterior of the house as well. And for the first level, I wanted Jirachi's living room to look magical with books flying as well as a fortune-telling entrance. So right now I'm adding a fireplace and the mystery block to give it a magical look, and also because that's what people can see when you open the door. And after that I add the bookshelves around the house, and around the house meaning everywhere, covering all the walls. I also added the curtain to the windows, mainly for the front of the house, and also planted with the flowers. And I went back to continue putting bookshelves everywhere, as well as books lying around, as I wanted it to look more like a magician's house. And now I'm just adding the decoration, so I added a berry case here and there, some flower vase, and also a table in the middle. So that's where, like, when you enter you can see the fortune telling area already. Here I added the coffee table and a chair and a mug, so Jirachi can sit here and enjoy tea. And I added more plants everywhere. On this side of the room, I wanted it to look like a potion area, so I'm just adding some glowing mushrooms around as well, and a spice rack and honey, as the honey looked like a jar, so it looked like a potion area. And I added more glowing mushrooms around. And here I add a floating star, so I put blocks underneath first and add the star on top and remove the blocks after, so that way it floats. And I also added some floating books around, so that there's more of the magical vibe in the room. I also added some bookshelves on the second level as well, and a floating book, so that there's a consistency between the second and first level. And here I'm just finishing up the entrance, and that's all for the cottage. Now moving on to the garden area, I'm trying to make 2 star ponds, one on each side of the garden. Right now I'm making one on the left side. It's kind of like a trial and error, so I'm just trying to see whether it looks like a star. Once the star was formed, I added water to the pond. Here I used fresh water, but eventually I used the observatory to give the pond a foggy effect. Once the left side of the pond is done, I do the same on the right side of the pond, so there will be 2 star ponds. So this is what it looks like left and right. Now that the 2 pond is done, I added round columns to each side of the stairs along the pathway, and this acts as a flower vase. So I added bushes on top of it, and also for the other flight of stairs. And for the middle level, I removed some blocks to create like a pond, and also to connect the star pond to this level so that there's a waterfall going downwards. And I also added wooden planks to create some pathway. And here I'm adding a tree 2 blocks down underground, so that when it grows, it will look like a bush. And here I'm adding some lilies in the pond, as well as some furniture and decoration, and flowers and bushes so that the garden area will come to life. And back to the pond, I did change the flooring to the mystery block, so do keep in mind to use them before adding the water in. And here I changed to the Rosarati water, so it does look like more of a hot spring, and that creates a fog within the garden, which gives it a magical vibe. And lastly, for the garden, I'm just adding some more flowers around to fill up the space. And this is what it looks like after a few days of growing the trees and the bushes. And I also added the star lamp, one on each side at this spot as well. And lastly, I added a stone path on some of the green parts of the pathway just to complete the look. And lastly, for the last build, we have the tower. So for this tower, I wanted to make it tall so that there's a balcony that we can add telescopes to it for us to watch the stars with the telescope, as well as an area to set up the fireworks. And here I'm adding the staircase that goes all the way up to the tower. I wanted it to wind along the wall, and here I'm adding the rest of the wall in. And once that's done, I'm adding the second level. And for the roof, I wanted all four sides to be slanted. So hence you can see like all four sides have a slanted roof. And in the middle, I'll add a block and the star lamp on top as well. Lastly, for the furniture, as it's a additional tower, I wanted the lower level to have a kitchen. So here I added a fire oven and also some cooking cabinet. And here I have an area for the balcony. So I add it to the side where I want to see the sky. And here I'm adding the wooden handle as the balcony handle, as it looks the most luxurious. And for the balcony, added a curtain as well as the telescope and two bushes and as well as some flowers. And for it to look like a balcony, I added the wooden pane window just so that the balcony looked like a balcony. And on this side, I removed the blocks so that I can add windows. So I did that to all three sides. Here I added the barn door and also the wooden bookshelves all around just to make it the same as the cottage. So for the barn door, it will be the cyan blue door. Right now it was green, but eventually I changed it to the cyan blue one. And I also added a tea set, garden table, and a garden chair because this area is meant to be for tea and for looking out the window. And I also added some floating books and a star mat. And lastly, I just added some finishing touches. So I just filled up the wall over there and added wooden posts below the balcony to give it some support, and some bench outside the entrance, as well as some bushes, flowers. Lastly, I also added some wish notes to the main house, and that's it. Now we have a magical garden and cottage for Jirachi. And this is me just giving a tour. Here is like the star pond. And inside we have Jirachi's fortune telling area with some wishes granted already. On the left side of the house we have a potion area, and on the right side we have a tea area. So here we have Jirachi's potion area. And on this side of the house, Jirachi's tea area where he can read books and enjoy tea and a view. And up the stairs we have her bedroom. Here she can sleep. And we also have a sofa here that she can sit here. And back to the garden, we have a small area on the right side. On the left side. On this side, we have a pathway going towards a tiny area where you can sit and enjoy the lake, and also towards the tower. So over here, there's a firework area. And inside, firstly, there's the kitchen. So here is where Jirachi can make tea and food. And up the stairs, this is a lookout area. So this is where you enjoy the tea and read some books. And outside on the balcony is where we can stargaze. So this is what it looks like in the day, and this is what it looks like at night. Nighttime definitely has more of a magical vibe in a different sense, but I do like it in the day as well. And that is all for today. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, to give me a like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more builds. See you next time. Bye!